But here's where it gets interesting, right? The character creation. Strict rules adherence, but generous starting power.
Exactly. This is a key philosophical point. Max HP at level 1, pretty common house rule, but good. But then, an amazing 32-point buy for base stats.
Okay, for listeners maybe not deep into Pathfinder 1,
Yeah.
explain why 32 points is such a big deal. Standard is usually like 15, 20.
Right, 15 is gritty, 20 is standard heroic, 32, that's significantly more powerful. With 15 points, you struggle to get 2 stats reasonably high. With 32,
What can you build?
the source gives examples. A superhero array, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, before racial modifiers, where you could go for 2 primary stats at 17, then fill out the rest decently, 17, 17, 12, 12, 12, 10.
That's a massive power boost right from the start.
It is, and it's essential for high-level Pathfinder. Enemy stats scale incredibly high. Giving players 32 points means the challenge comes from tactics and strategy, not just fighting against low stats. Your character will be competent.
So it's less survival against the odds and more heroic survival against overwhelming odds.
That's a great way to put it. You're equipped to face the nightmare, but it's still a nightmare. And this ties into the guidance on party synergy.
He encourages specific builds.
Encourages effective builds. And defines the best party. Now, best is subjective, but he means balanced as cleric, rogue, fighter barbarian, wizard sorcerer, and maybe a bard or druid, covering all the bases.
Divine, martial, arcane, skills, utility, the classic pillars.
Exactly. And he's pretty blunt about what not to do. There's an explicit warning against, quote, salad bar multiclassing.
Taking one level in everything.
Yeah. He says it leads to being good at nothing at higher levels, which in high-level Pathfinder can be a death sentence.
Okay, I have to push back slightly here. For a campaign that could go 21 levels, doesn't that strict focus on optimization maybe stifle creativity? What if my character concept needs a weird, maybe suboptimal multiclass for story reasons? Is mechanical efficiency always king here?
That's a totally fair question, but I think the context is that the threats in high-level Pathfinder demand that efficiency. The GM is signaling. The world is so lethal. Your cool story concept needs solid mechanics underpinning it, or that character just won't survive to see the story through.
So the rule seems to be, tell your story, but make sure your build can actually handle the math the world throws at you.
Pretty much. And related to that, alignment rules. No evil characters unless you get pre-approval. And crucially, even if approved, evil actions can't disrupt the game flow. No party infighting or sabotage allowed. Keep the focus on the group's adventure.
Makes sense for maintaining pace in a long campaign. And pace seems critical, especially with the VTT setup.
Absolutely. Prep is paramount. There is a detailed character creation guide sent out before Session 0, but the Roll20 setup sounds like the real key to efficiency.
How so? Macros and buttons.
Macros, custom buttons, a whole system for tracking buffs and conditions automatically. The goal is seamless play. Any complex roll or action should be, ideally, a single click.
Okay, let's paint a picture for the listener. Pathfinder, full attack. You might have power attack, flanking bonus, haste, maybe bard song. That's a lot of modifiers to track.
Real headache sometimes.
But with this setup, instead of spending a minute adding and subtracting, you just click your full attack, flanking, haste, or rating button, and boom.
Exactly. The VTT calculates it all, rolls the dice, maybe even tracks the damage. Think about how much time that saves per round. Over 99 rounds of combat, you're saving hours of real time.
That efficiency lets the tactical depth shine without the game grinding to a halt for arithmetic. Using tech to speed up complexity, not remove it.
Precisely. Which leads us into how play actually runs at this table, Section V in the source. The GM's specific rules and mechanics that enhance tactics and fairness. This is where that 45 years of experience really shows in the structure.
How does it start?
Discipline through transparency. Turn-based is most based. He uses a visible counter tracking everything. Exploration turns, combat rounds, downtime days. No ambiguity about where you are in the game's time keeps people focused.
And accountability for turns.
Yeah. The GM announces every player's turn with a unique sentence, and their character icon pops up in the chat.
So no zoning out. Your icon appears, you better be ready. Crucial for pace in complex fights.
Totally. But the really innovative bit, I think, is the dynamic combat setup. It's not just rolling initiative.
What else is involved?
You roll key pre-combat skills with initiative. Perception, stealth, survival, maybe knowledge skills depending on the situation.
Okay, why roll those with initiative? How does that change things tactically?
Because the results immediately set the scene. Your perception check That determines if you're surprised, yes, but also potentially how far away enemies are, maybe their starting positions. Your stealth check might mean the enemy is flat-footed or completely unaware.
So combat doesn't just start with two lines of minis 60 feet apart?
Exactly. It starts in media res. It reflects the reality of an ambush or stalking prey. You might start hidden or surrounded or spotting the enemy from afar. It forces you to use skills and positioning right from the first second.
That puts a much higher value on skills like perception and stealth. They have immediate tangible combat effects.
Peak time. And when complex rules do come up during play, like cover or grappling.
Which can really slow things down if people disagree on interpretation.
Right. He uses flowcharts, pre-prepared visual aids to ensure speedy resolution. Again, it's about preparation, minimizing disputes, and keeping the game moving.
The source also highlights a specific old-school interpretation for ranged attacks. Something about +8 AC.
Yeah, this is a classic. Firing a ranged weapon at someone who is actively fighting your ally in melee. If your ally is providing cover, basically, that target gets a +8 AC bonus against your shot.
+8? That's huge. Why?
It represents the risk of hitting your friend. It's the specific rule overrides the general rule principle. You can't just freely shoot into melee.
So tactically, your archer needs a clear line of sight, or your rogue needs to flank to remove the ally from the line of fire. It makes positioning absolutely critical for ranged characters.
Turns every shot into a mini puzzle. And that strictness extends to magical traps, especially runes and symbols.
How so? You can't just roll disable device.
Not unless you have the specific rogue class feature, trap finding. Otherwise, to disarm or bypass something like a symbol of death, you need to know the specifics of the symbol of death spell.
Wow, okay, so you need knowledge skills. Knowledge, arcana, knowledge, religion. You need to identify the magic to deal with it.
Exactly. It encourages players to actually use those knowledge skills, to research, to prepare, adventuring as an intellectual challenge, not just swinging swords.
Now, with all this tactical crunch, how do they handle role-playing? Does it get pushed aside?
Seems like they have a system for that too. OpenRP is encouraged, but specifically when an OpenRP while busy icon is active in the chat.
What does that mean?
It's a signal from the GM, like, okay, I'm busy calculating damage from the last goblin volley or tracking initiative. I can't fully engage in a deep character monologue right now, but you guys are free to talk amongst yourselves about what just happened, your current status, planning your next move.
So it keeps the chatter focused on the immediate situation, prevents dead air while the GM crunches numbers, but also stops the conversation drifting off topic. Smart.
Very efficient. And finally, on lethality. The GM uses hero points, but specifically because he doesn't fudge rolls or ignore rules.
So characters can die.
For real. Absolutely. The source says death comes from a combination of bad luck, unwise choices, and this is key, failing to use your hero points. Those points are your safety net, your way to mitigate bad rolls.
Okay, here's a tension point then. If the GM never sudges, what happens if, say, a really important NPC ally just critically fails a saving throw against instant death? Does Raw just kill them off even if it wrecks a story arc?
Based on this description, it seems like the answer is, yeah, probably. Raw seems to trump narrative convenience. But remember, the PCs have that 32-point buy in hero points. The world is run by the rules. If an NPC dies tragically due to the dice, that becomes the new story.
He's running a simulation, not writing a script. Consequences are real. That's actually really refreshing. A clear contract.
And that contract is really formalized in the safety and boundaries section. The prime directive is simple. Focus on the game, the play's the thing, deep immersion is the goal.
And to protect that immersion, specific boundaries.
Big ones. Explicitly no talk unrelated to the game, especially no politics or religion.
A deliberate choice to keep real-world stress out of the fantasy space. The time at the table is for the adventure. Period.
And the safety tools listed are pretty comprehensive. Aftercare, regular breaks, debriefing, an open door policy, and a robust session zero. Reflects a modern approach to running intense games responsibly.
But the level of detail in the content warnings, that's impressive.
It's extensive. We're talking specific warnings for things like alcohol use, character death, obviously, cults, demons, devils, fiends, mind control, scars, given the hook, spiders, suffocation.
Wow. He's basically gone through the potential 40-session arc and flagged every potentially sensitive theme up front. That's extreme diligence.
It's peak professionalism, really, ensuring everyone walks in with eyes wide open. And the final line on behavior is absolute. Zero tolerance for disrespect, mistreatment, or abuse of any kind.
So this structured, rule-bound, safe environment, is actually what enables players to fully commit to the high-stakes drama without holding back.
Precisely. They can trust the framework.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up,
Yeah.
we haven't just looked at a game pitch. This is like a complete blueprint for high-commitment, high-quality, high-stakes gaming.
Totally. From that involuntary hook, the Scar of Destiny, all the way through the GM's decades of experience and meticulous VTT setup, it's architected for a specific kind of experience.
Focused, epic, where rules matter and consequences are absolutely real.
Yeah, it feels like a philosophy where the intense preparation, the voice acting, the strict rules, they all combine to generate fun that feels earned. It's dramatic because the simulation produces drama, not because the GM fudged a roll.
The GM builds the world, provides the framework, gives you powerful tools with that 32-point buy.
But your actions, your tactics, your character build, your use of hero points, that's the engine. That determines if you survive and succeed. The invitation here is incredibly compelling. If you've ever wanted to build a really detailed, powerful character and take them from level 1 to 20 or 21 in a focused, challenging, fantastic adventure.
This sounds like the table you've been waiting for.
It really does.
That structural guarantee, that promise of quality backed by decades of experience and meticulous planning, that's what makes this pitch stand out.
So we know the Scar of Destiny pulls you in, involuntarily, but thinking about everything we've discussed, the demand for optimization, the strict tactical rules like that, plus AAC penalty, that incredibly high 32-point buy, it leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener.
Is that scar just a random curse throwing you into deadly peril?
Yeah.
Or is it something else? Is it maybe a designed mechanism placed by some entity to deliberately select only the most optimized, the most tactically brilliant, the most powerful heroes, those capable of using a 32-point buy effectively and force them into this specific dangerous destiny? What does your choice of build, your specific 32-point array, actually say about whether you were destined to survive this from the start?